Miguel, the host of Life Full Circle Radio. What's up? What's up? What's up? So if y'all remember last week, a couple weeks ago, in the middle of the show, my little mic arm just died on me in the middle of the show. Look what I got. Had to get back to it because I think I almost broke my finger last week trying to catch it. All right. Anyway, so getting into today's show. Trump pitches a purge. Every week he's just floating stuff out there. So he says the way to stop crime is just, I guess he looked on his Netflix and saw there was a movie called The Purge. He said, well, let's do that. Let's do that. So we'll talk about that. Kamala Harris. We're going to talk about Eric Adams out of New York, who's now been federally indicted. Hurricane aftermath. We're going to get into that. Maya Rudolph is back on Saturday Night Live because, hey, who's going to do Kamala Harris better than Maya Rudolph? We got a few other things to talk about. So there's that. All right. Follow us on all the social medias. Make sure you give us a like and a share. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. We're live on Twitch. And then we're going to get some stuff. Hey, man, there's a new announcement ready to come out. I think it's tomorrow. Fanbase, you're going to have the ability to do watch parties on Fanbase, and I'm going to be pitching that thing. So basically, we can put the YouTube link in Fanbase and let people kind of do a watch party on Fanbase. So there's that. Super producer.
I'm listening. I'm paying attention. Yes. Hi.
What are you over there doing?
I was watching the sketch of Kamala. I said it right. On SNL. And Jim Gaffigan, who I think is very funny, is playing Tim Waltz. And the way they look alike is almost creepy, uncanny how they did his makeup and stuff. And guys, my camera's going to jump. Something's going on with it. I do not know. So it's going to jump.
It's what it is. But I got to check that out. I didn't check out SNL last week. So got to check that out. But yeah, so super producer, what is the deal?
Yes. What's going on? I mean, a lot of stuff happened. Every time we go, we do stories, and then the world implodes, and we have to do the stories all over again. There was a devastating hurricane that came through, I don't know, the entire East Coast, east side of the country, Tennessee, Georgia, the Carolinas, Florida.
It's pretty bad. There was some stuff not far from, and I may see if I can try to find it, but there was a spot in Atlanta called Apartment 4B. For some people who might have heard this story a little while ago, there was a Shaka Zulu, who is the longtime manager of Ludacris. He had got into an incident. He owns a place called Apartment 4B, and it was when I say flooded, I mean it was crazy. And because when I remember going there, it's a spot that you go down and then the parking lot sits low and it was a creek. I'm gonna see if I can find it so I can show it to you. But no, it was not planned. This hurricane, and these hurricanes are getting worse and worse and worse. It's getting crazy.
Yeah, and I feel so bad for people in other states who aren't really prepared. Like Floridians, we're prepared to an extent. Like we know when they say get out, we know they mean get out, get your stuff, get your dog, get your paperwork, and go. Yeah. I mean, I was just telling Miguel before the show started that my mother and I are planning her 70th birthday and my 40th, and we decided to book a venue called the Gulfport Casino, which is a historic casino. It has been there for a very long time in the city of St. Petersburg, and it's also in a sundown town because that's what Gulfport was back in the day. So it's nice to be able to have the party there. Well, that venue, though it's still standing, is destroyed on the inside because it completely flooded with water. Gulfport Casino sits in the water, like the front door is on the street, and then the back of the whole venue sits in the water, and then all that water came inside of the building. There's another restaurant that's right across the street, somewhere where my mom and I used to go pretty often when I was younger. Completely destroyed. I mean, really destroyed. It's pretty sad to see the Appalachian Mountains, where you think wouldn't even have had an issue because they're so far inland. The mud, the water, the rain, their system just could not handle all of that, and it's yeah, you're looking at the screen right now, a restaurant, Apartment 4B, and that whatever that red building is, though, I feel bad for as well. Like,
so when you go to Apartment 4B, where they get ready to show you as you drive down this driveway, there's a parking lot to the right. You go down, and when you get to the bottom, you make a left, and what you're looking at that looks like a creek is the parking lot. And so as you see, the red building is halfway is covered. You can see the rail was deep in the water. So you go to the right. It's a really cool restaurant that's on the and so this for people who are not in Atlanta, this is Buckhead. This is in Buckhead, and so there was another place out here in the area out here in Henry County where I live, also where that was dealt with. And so you look at this stuff and you just say, man, this is insanity that folks are having to deal with this. And so, man, I'm telling you, we are at the mercy. We are at the mercy. We're at the mercy of God. Let's just keep it real. Because even though we live in an area that should be pretty
Oh wow.
secure, what's wrong?
So I'm looking at the picture before the rain on, Google Maps or whatever.
Yeah,
And is apartment 4B down a flight of stairs?
there's two levels to apartment 4B. You go upstairs to the second level is where the primary restaurant is.
What's
Um,
beneath it? Because it looks like this whole whatever it is underwater right now, from what you're looking at on the screen.
yeah,
And that little red barn is, yeah.
yeah. No, it's a wrap. I don't know what it looks like today. I don't, but just to you can imagine the flood damage that is there, that is going on in that place. But that's just one place. There's other places here in Atlanta. Powers were out, but we're in Atlanta. This ain't even Florida, where I'm watching. There was a story I watched on 60 Minutes on Sunday, where there was a family. I don't know why y'all live in Florida. I know you're a Floridian, and I know it's gonna be hard to get you up out of there.
Yeah, die
But
hard.
you said not hard.
I said die hard, die hard. We're not
Die
leaving. And
hard.
Omar's a New Yorker who I'm not leaving Florida.
Because it's like they were telling stories about on 60 Minutes where there was people who had their whole roofs gone, and the appraiser's going out and telling the insurance companies this is $240,000 in damage. They are submitting that to the insurance company. Insurance company is paying the families $9,000. And so these people are out there cutting grass with holes in their roofs, and they're talking about they can't get these insurance companies to pay their claims. And that is hard for like a lot of the major insurance companies. Do you have a major insurance carrier, State Farm, or any of those big guys?
They left Florida.
Right.
State Farm left Florida. There's like four other ones who left. I have Slide, whatever the hell that is. I have no idea.
Right.
Our insurance
Right. Right. Slide your
We have
butt up out of
Slide.
Florida is what they slide your house down the river.
But
I'm
here's the
joking
interesting thing
about no, but
about
this
it,
is your
though.
home, but Florida's like, wow, the way this weather's getting worse.
Well, here's the problem with the insurance companies that's happening. When big things happen and they owe you $250,000 and they owe everybody money at one time, they do pay you in installments. Or they pay the roofers directly. They're not going to pay you out $250,000. They will contact the roofer
Mhm.
and then they'll pay the roofer directly and they'll have the work
That
done.
wasn't the story that was told. Well, the story that was told on 60 Minutes was that the appraiser would submit to the insurance companies, here's all the damage. All the damage adds up to $250,000, $480,000. Before they submit that to the homeowner, they've doctored that entire document and saying, we're only paying you $9,000. And your house is totally destroyed.
Oh, when we had
That
our
was the
roof appraised,
investigative
that's
story.
not when we had our roof appraised, that's not how it happened. They had
Hmm.
their person come out and they knew we needed a new roof. The new roof we needed was supposed to be $22,000, but they're
Hmm.
like, we'll give you 14.5. We were
Hmm.
like, cool, we'll take that 14.5 and find somebody cheaper.
Yeah, yeah, and we've had a new roof put on our house in the last few years, and I get it. You negotiate with the roofers, personally and whatever. But just to hear the stories, there was another guy who was on one of the news networks, and he was actually riding a kayak in his living room,
Yep,
and
saw
purple
that.
kayak, and he owned a business somewhere. I think he's in Tampa, and I just to me, you have to be really a special type of person to say, I'm going to deal with this anytime a hurricane comes through. Because my understanding is another tropical storm that's sitting out there in the Gulf right now that's forming.
Yes, Hurricane Matthew, which if anybody remembers the original Hurricane Matthew from a long, long time ago, I remember that. My dad served during Hurricane Matthew that hit Miami and devastated
Hmm.
Miami. I think that was like 30 years ago now at this point.
Hmm.
Um, but my mom's friends, my mom's friends, all retired couples. What do you do when you retire and your kids are off having their kids? And you're like, what do? We don't need a house anymore. What do we buy? We buy a condo. But we're old, so we can't walk up 5 flights of stairs and we don't feel like riding an elevator. So we're going to get a first floor condo in St. Pete Beach. How does that work out?
and you get flooded out.
You
So
get
God
flooded out.
bless.
People lost their
Yeah,
cars. I'm lucky that
yeah,
my mom still lives in a home. She doesn't really live near. She lives what they call zone B or C. She's not in zone A by the water. She's like
hmm,
maybe 4 miles out, so her home was safe. She did
yeah,
lose electricity for 2 days, but she's lucky. A lot of
yeah,
her friends who even live farther inland, in something called Shore Acres,
yeah,
nowhere near the water.
yeah.
All their homes are flooded.
It's all water. It's Tampa Bay.
I know.
The,
I'm
the
from there.
the bay means that you are right there directly on water.
Yep.
I am where I'm from. A lot of my people watching the show, they're from Virginia. Norfolk, Virginia, is like New Orleans. It is underwater. I remember there used to be times where we'd have rainstorms or thunderstorms, and you know how in some towns, and I don't know if they have them in Florida in many towns, but you'll have these underpasses that you got bridges over that people drive over the top, and they have these underpasses, and the underpasses would turn into little creeks in 30 minutes. And
Yeah.
people are like, oh, I got an SUV, I'm gonna ride right through it. No, dummy, you're going to ruin your vehicle, or worst case, you're going to drown.
Unless your
Go
engine
around.
has a snorkel, don't do that. I'm telling y'all, don't do that. Like when they showed people who were trying to drive from Pensacola, there's a bridge over a river that goes through
Hmm.
Pensacola. People
Hmm.
were trying to drive over that. People were trying to drive over the Howard Franklin Bridge. Why would you do that? I
What's
would
the
never.
Howard
Wherever
Franklin
I'm at
Bridge?
is where I'm gonna be at. If I'm
What's
stuck in
the
the
Howard
mall,
Franklin
then
Bridge? Why does that matter? What is that? What's the Howard
well,
Franklin
why
Bridge?
does the Howard Franklin Bridge matter?
What is the Howard Franklin? I'm saying, what is it? Is it a lot of water, or what's the
Oh,
story?
no, no, no. Okay, so the Howard Franklin Bridge connects St. Pete to
Yeah.
Tampa.
Oh,
So
okay.
they make a bridge.
Okay,
But
I
when it
got you.
rains and the hurricane coming, they shut the bridge down and have flashing lights. It's basically a warning saying, don't do this. You can, but you really shouldn't. And it showed the water is almost to the top peak of the bridge,
Okay.
and
Wow.
people are still trying to drive over it like
Wow.
dodos, and it's
Right.
not safe.
Right. People don't understand how tenuous our lives are. Right. If God sit up here and say, we always look and folks always say, oh, there's such an amazement on how the water stays over there and the people are right here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a high tide that says the water was there at 2 o'clock and now it's 5 o'clock and the water is way over here, and that's every day without storm surge, right? And so. And so but people take this stuff for a joke. They think because they made it through the last one
Look at
that
that.
it's okay that they'll make it through this one. This is something I found for the Howard Franklin Bridge, and so
Yep. And that's a
um,
bridge we drive over all the time. When I have to drive over that bridge to get back to my home city, to my mom's house. I have to drive back over that bridge to get home. So I'm very familiar with that bridge. And that bridge is brand new. They just started building that
mm,
bridge. Another thing that's devastated is the Appalachian Trail. That may not sound super familiar, but that's a huge hiking trail city that people go through all the time. It's almost like how to describe it. It's the Disneyland of the Midwest, basically. Everybody hikes the Appalachian Trail
I've heard of the
because
Appalachian Trail before. Yeah,
you camp on it. They make
yeah,
millions of dollars a year for that
right,
trail, but now the trail is
right.
closed. People's cities are completely flooded. It's just, I feel bad. I really do feel bad for everybody. The good news is that when it comes to things like this, the insurance companies will pay out. It will take a long time, but the insurance companies will pay out. You will rebuild, but hurricanes happen every year. We get
And that's
two every year.
and that's just it. I can't imagine when they were showing this family that they basically said they showed the woman cutting her grass and there was holes in her roof. The reporter from 60 Minutes goes in there, says, I can stick my whole arm through this, and they want to give you $9,000 total to repair this. Now they're staying in hotels or apartments down the street. They still got to pay the mortgage, right?
Yeah.
And he's still paying premiums to his insurance company because his deal was, I can't find another insurance company because nobody else will insure me.
Where do they live? Do they
So
say?
I'm not. I don't remember.
Because that's
But
another thing. When you live in Sarasota,
mm-hmm.
Naples, Miami Beach, there's places that the insurance companies just don't want you. They just don't want to insure because this type of stuff happens. And me and Omar are good because we're so far inland in Mineola. We're good. But
Yeah,
like my mom, if my mom didn't own her house, I don't think anybody would insure it. I don't.
yeah.
It was built in the 80s and she's in Zone C in St. Petersburg, Florida.
So God bless folks who stick it out. But we lived in Jacksonville, and that's the other thing, guys. Um, when you're making decisions on where you want to live, you know, don't just look at the home price. Look at the flood zones. Look at the path of all of this stuff needs to be taken into account. Because just because the house is relatively cheap or you got a good price, you got to think about if you're, and here's the thing
Yeah.
about Florida. Florida ain't close to nobody or nothing. It is hanging down by itself. If you got to
America's
go,
penis.
uh, exactly.
It's-
So it ain't like it's a quick hop, skip, and a jump to leave from Tampa and go to
no.
your family in Virginia or Alabama or Georgia. Because here's the thing about Georgia: those highways up 75 from Florida all the way to Georgia, all that stuff is highly tree lined, and
Yeah.
so you got to get out of there early. You got to get out of there soon. Everybody's leaving. There's pretty much
Yeah.
one or two ways to get in and out of Florida: it's 75 or 95, or you're gonna be going back roads the whole way. And
Yeah.
so, anyway,
Living
hey
in
man,
Florida is
God
like
bless
living
people
in
who love to live in
California.
Florida. God bless y'all for living in Florida. To hell to the no. I have no interest in living in Florida. Not my primary home. Maybe a second home, but not no primary.
Living in Florida is like living in California. You're not near anything. Like your state is like really long, and you're away from everybody. It takes a long distance to get through everything. But I asked the same question about people who live in Tornado Alley in Oklahoma and those states. You live on something called Tornado Alley.
Yeah, but yeah, I've lived in Tornado Alley. We lived in Arkansas, and sure, it's tough, but a tornado to me is not as scary. Here's the thing about hurricanes will bring you hurricanes, and they will bring you tornadoes, and they will bring you water spouts, and they will bring you trees flying in the air, and all of that. Right now, mind you, I say all that, and I've had a trampoline hit the side of my house in Arkansas, based on some wind, so that has happened before too. But I wouldn't want to live in Tornado Alley for a whole different reason. Too many
It's because
Trump
it's
supporters
racism.
out there for me.
It's
I want to
racism.
be
That's
near
what I think.
people.
It's
Nah,
racism.
too much racism. That's what's prevalent out there. All right, let's move on. So
The Kimbe Matumbo
tragic
passing
news
away.
today. The Kimbe Mutombo passed away, and very devastating news. The Kimbe. I grew up in Virginia as a fan of two colleges. I don't care anymore, but growing up, I was a Carolina fan, UNC fan, because in Virginia, everybody had a team for the ACC, everybody had a team for the Big East, and Georgetown was my Big East team. They had Alonzo Mourning. Alonzo played alongside this brother, but this brother was much more than basketball, much more than basketball, and I met him. I've got a picture somewhere. Trey and I met him at a fundraiser because here's the thing about the Kimbe. He was extremely involved in a lot of philanthropic work. You talk
Yes.
about him building hospitals in his native land. I want to say I don't want to mess this up. I think he's from the Congo, but I may have messed that up. Check that for me. But I
Yeah,
know
I'm
he
checking
built
right
a
now.
hospital in his native land. I know he was extremely generous with his money and with his name and with his likeness, and nobody had nary a negative word to say about the Kimbe Mutombo. And
Congo. Yep, Congolese.
yeah, and so I just when I think about that and I think about him passing, he was very quiet. It wasn't a lot of noise going on around him having this issue with brain cancer, and so to hear it today it was definitely a sad surprise to see that Dikembe had passed on. So
And
R.I.P. to
he
Dikembe and we send love and prayers to his family.
and he leaves behind what looks like seven children, all from the same family. His wife
Hmm.
Rose, who we met in the Congo,
Okay.
and they had three children together, and they also adopted four children of Rose's brother who passed away.
Okay.
So he just seems like the all around good guy, and he became famous again to younger generations for the finger wag. Everybody remembers
Right.
that meme and that
Right.
commercial. And what I appreciate the most about this, and I know it's really hard to say that about somebody who's passed, especially somebody like Dikembe Mutombo, is that we didn't see him old and failing at what was going on. Like, we
Right.
didn't see him with a cane, thin, sickly, none of that. We didn't even hear rumors that he was sick. I think it came out that
Right.
he was sick a long time ago and there was no rumors. He got to die with his image as this big, strong man, philanthropic person, and not as this sick person. Which I'm sorry, but I appreciate that.
Here in Atlanta, there's a lot of famous people. Get my quotes in the camera. A lot of famous people that move and live around in the Atlanta area, right? And so, the Kimbe was one of those athletes that kind of reminded you that athletes are people too, right?
Hmm.
When we saw him, it was never a thing where he came off as being, um, you know, he's 7'1", 7'2", so he couldn't hide himself, right?
Yeah.
But he always seemed very regular for a 7'7", 7'1", I mean, person. Like I said, he was at many black tie dinners that we've attended where there's fundraisers, and a lot of times, uh, a lot of them don't show up. A lot of them live here. A lot of them have opportunities. A lot of them have no interest at all. Dikembe was one of those guys, and so we mourn his loss. All right, let's move on. Omar wanted to remind us P Rose. P Rose passed away too. That's a different story. P Rose, famous baseball player who R.I.P. to him and his family. He is most famous. He's a great baseball.
Maggie
Yes, what?
Smith also died, but Miguel said we weren't allowed to talk about that. It couldn't be at the top of
Who?
the show. Maggie
Who?
Smith, Professor McGonagall,
Who's
Mother
Maggie Smith?
Superior. You know who Maggie Smith is. Please don't play Maggie Smith. She was amazing. You watched
Who is?
Sister Act 1 and 2?
I haven't seen Sister Act 1 or 2, and I'm certainly not waiting for Sister Act 3 because Lauren Hill ain't gonna show up to work. So, but there's your three. They say they always pass in threes, and so did we talk about Frankie Beverly last week?
We talked about him 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Okay.
Yeah.
But Pete Rose finishing up the Pete Rose. Pete Rose is famous for not only being a great baseball player, but also being kicked out of the league for gambling. And he wasn't kicked out of the league for gambling. Let me recant that. But he wasn't given the opportunity while he was living to be in the Hall of Fame because of his gambling. I always thought after a while that was a bit too much, but it is what
He
it
died
is.
at 83. I mean, that's a good age to pass away at. And I know that sounds messed up to say, but you lived a
Hmm.
long life.
Yeah.
Kimbe Matumbo died at 58. Like,
No,
that's.
and it's just sad. It's sad that he passed away. All right, so let's move on. So Eric Adams. Let's
Eric
slide on over
Adams.
here to Eric Adams. Eric Adams, who is the mayor of New York City right now, and he's indicted on federal corruption and bribery charges stemming back to his relationship with, I want to say, somebody from Egypt, I believe, is what I've read.
Turkey.
And say again.
Turkey.
Turkey. Okay. Make sure. Anyway, so it's and here's a funny thing. When I heard this story, Donald Trump actually came out and used this as an opportunity because every time he's not doing it because he's not doing it to be kind, but he kind of acted like he has some sympathy for Eric Adams. Eric Adams, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. But just like me, they're using the criminal justice system as a weapon against blah 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 blah. Eric Adams is a Democrat. So, hey man, if he did the crime, and they have this indictment goes back to 2014, so
Yeah.
they didn't have their eyes on him for a minute.
I feel like Eric Adams is universally hated by everybody. Nobody in New York likes this man. I have not heard one person say Eric Adams is really doing what he's supposed to do. And he ended up getting heckled by an old black person at his last event. I think it was last Wednesday or something. Somebody
Uh-huh.
screamed out, "You're a lying POS," and it was an old black person. And once you lose the old black people who will support old black people support other blacks no matter what, like
You
they really
know,
will.
this is
So,
this yeah this is slightly off topic, but it's not. Um, who's Lindsey Graham? I saw Lindsey Graham on the Sunday morning shows, and on Sunday morning he was being interviewed, and he said something about, and he used the shit. We used that word. He said shit Sunday morning, and I said to myself, where are we in politics where old 75-year-old men on Sunday morning news talk shows, Meet the Press, are
meet the
talking
press.
about, huh?
Meet
It's
the
like
press.
there's no pieces, no decorum. We sitting here on a Monday night in the evening, and the kids are doing whatever they're doing. And Sunday morning, people getting ready for church, and you guys are the party supposedly of Christianity, and you sitting here laughing about. And I said, so I only brought that up because you talked about this old woman at Eric Adams' press conference or wherever he was, and she called him a piece of shit and all this type of stuff. And I said to myself, like, it's not even like, I was watching something. I was watching CNN or something at 6:00 in the evening, and one of the panelists, and I said, "Is shit no longer a cuss word?" I'm like, that was a word that anything that I got could get popped in my mouth by my grandmother when I was young shouldn't be on TV at 6 p.m. at night or 9 a.m. on a Sunday. And
I'm 39 and I still can't say the S word in front of my mom, or I get this really nasty face and then she hangs up, and then my brother has to say, "What is wrong with you? Like, why are you cussing in front of mom?"
Right. Trades like that. Me, it's so funny. My dad's side, my dad and my stepmom, they treat me as an adult. I am 52 years old. But my mom is one thing. And then my wife is always just like, "I can't believe you said that in front of your dad." I am 52 years old.
I'm like that with maybe it's just a wife thing. I'm like that with Omar. Omar starts to get a little sassy with his mom. I'm like, "Well, you need to watch your tone.
Right.
Don't talk to your mom like that."
Right. And then and so anyway, man, getting back, Eric
Let me
Adams.
circle back.
Eric Adams is going to be. So he's going to fall on his sword, and if he's done what he said that he did, I don't give a dog if you're Democrat, Republican, Independent. I don't care your affiliation. If you're a criminal, then you need to do time. You need to pay the penalty for being a criminal. And you taking bribes, and I want to say it has something to do with contracts or something. I haven't read the whole story of what the indictments were about.
I haven't read the entire story either. All I'll say is it just doesn't look good because, again, when you're dealing with the Southern District of New York, when you're dealing with bribery charges, like what Diddy is kind of going through with racketeering and all that kind of stuff, it's not like how they did at the state level in Georgia. That is a whole hot mess with that YSL trial. The Southern District of New York, they start looking 5-6 years ago, and they started making little piles and organizing their piles and organizing their stuff and labeling it and posting it and stacking up before they even come and arrest you or indict you. They just have to go through we said it last week. We just got to go through the formality of this. We really don't. We already know you did this. We just have to make sure. But when you're talking about how people are acting in politics, I blame Trump. I've said it before on this show. I think it's Trump's fault that we're here. We can just say whatever we want to say and it's all fine. And there is no hallowed ground now when it comes to news. Everything's fake. Everything's sensationalized all of a sudden. Everything's not real. The MSM, it's all this kind of stuff. When prior to Trump, let's say prior to Obama, these were hallowed. To be on Meet the Press, you've made it as a politician if you're asked to be on or if you're getting interviewed by Meet the Press, especially if you're getting interviewed by yourself and you're not in a panel of people.
Correct. Think about we can all remember during Obama's administration when he was giving his speech and one of the people from the Republicans just screamed out, "You lie!" And that was just like clutch the pearls, like, "Oh my God, I can't believe they did that. Where's decorum?" Now it's a wrap.
I know, and I remember that moment because even Republicans were like, "Who said that?" Like everybody's turning around, like, "Who said that?"
Right, and at this point, it doesn't even matter, man. You got bad blonde built and people are trading jabs and all this type of stuff, and you just look at this thing and you say, man, we are. And here's the thing, and I want to say this before we get off this politics part of the show. November 5th is scaring me, Kia.
What's November 5th?
Election day.
Oh, is that what that is? Why are you scared?
Because
I'm not.
Because here's the thing: we seem to believe this is going to be about who. It's going to be about what the people want. I'm not convinced this is going to be about what the people want. I think that these people, it's going to be about what the courts decide, and that to me is a scary proposition because, when Trump tries to act like they keep laying this groundwork about it's being stolen and the Democrats are not ones who are stacking the courts. The Democrats are not the one who is stacking these election officials across the nation. That's not. If the Democrats are doing that, they're doing a terrible job of it because there's no benefit to what is happening right now. We're gonna be sitting on pins and needles until January 6th.
See, that's where the concern comes in at. I am not worried about November 6th. I know Kamala's gonna win. I know Kamala. I'm saying it right now. You got me paranoid. I I know Kamala's going to win. I'm not concerned about that.
Yeah.
What I'm concerned about is the very, very, very radicalized Trump supporters
Right.
who did what they did last time.
Correct.
That's the problem. It's
Correct.
not them winning or not, because the more he says, and let's just this eases right into our next topic.
Yeah.
This MFer recommended the purge as a solution to crime.
Yeah.
Let me pull the story up so I can get the
I had it
words.
somewhere. Let me see if I still have it.
Here we go. Donald Trump was mocked online of proposing a solution to crime that bore jarring similarity to horror movie franchise The Purge. At a rally in Pennsylvania on Sunday, which I feel like he lives in Pennsylvania now. Does he go anywhere but Pennsylvania? Whatever.
He's going
On
to be a
Sunday,
battleground state. That's where he's going to stay. Yeah. Pennsylvania is one he thinks he can win.
Suggested that on one way to decrease levels of criminal activity would be allowing police one rough hour to tackle the issue, during which time there would be less restraints. One rough hour, and I mean real rough.
When we play his quote, because it's right here.
Yeah, go ahead and play it.
Let's.
And the police aren't allowed to do their job. They're told, if you do anything, you're going to lose your pension, you're going to lose your family, your house, your car. The police want to do it. The Border Patrol wants to do it. Border Patrol, they're incredible. They want to do it. Then they're not allowed to do it because the liberal left won't let them do it. The liberal left wants to destroy them, and they want to destroy our country. You know, if you had one day, like one real rough, nasty day with the drugstores, as an example, where when they start walking out with, you know, she created something in San Francisco, $950 you're allowed to steal. Anything above that, you will be prosecuted. Well, it works out that the $950 is a misnomer because you can steal whatever you want. You can go way above. But you'd see, originally you saw kids walk in with calculators. They were calculating. They didn't want to go over the $950. They're standing with calculators, adding it up. You know, these are smart people. They're not so stupid, but they have to be taught. Now, if you had one really violent day, like a guy like Mike Kelly, put him in charge. Congressman Kelly, put him in charge for one day. Mike, would you say, he's right here, he's a great congressman. Would you say, Mike, that if you were in charge, you would say, oh, please, don't touch them, let them rob your store. All these stores go out of business, right? They don't pay rent, then the city doesn't have, it's a chain of events. It's so bad. One rough.
I pause for effect. So here's the thing, and where I don't know what platform that I just put up, but here's the thing, because he is largely not on many of the platforms where we spend a lot of time now. We're not really seeing this stuff the way we saw it, 5 or 8 years ago. But this is the rally. This is what he's doing. This is the rhetoric that. And so the people that we're walking around in places like Florida or me in Georgia or areas where firearms and fireworks and all types of crap is in people to back up people's trucks, he's talking to these people on a daily basis. And so he just talked about a senator. If he put him in charge, he would just let violence run rapid. And so, yeah. So we got to be careful, guys.
I don't have real feedback, but this type of stuff is slowly having people drop off his base. I know you don't believe me, but I literally see it of people going, like last week's thing was him wanting to put numbers on immigrants, giving them numbers so that they can be identified easily, like Jewish people did. You saw trickle off of people there going like, yo, I supported MAGA. I can't do it anymore. That's the last straw for me. They're dropping off. Then you have stuff like this, and the purge is a good idea. You have more trickle off. The more he talks, the more people are like, yo, it's a bridge too far. Like, I can't do it.
But
I can't.
And I agree. But it didn't take but one kid at that school up in Georgia to kill 4 kids or whoever they killed and cause terror in that community. It doesn't take but one. And that's the challenge that I have with this, is that it's not that I don't believe that people are starting to come to their senses. I think it's too late, because we're talking about election boards being stacked. We're talking about gerrymandering. These are the things that have put the processes in place. When he said 2 months ago, I don't even need your votes. I got enough votes. He tells you right. He tells you right up front what's on his mind. So I'm just hoping, I'm praying. I just want somebody to reassure me. I don't know who can do it. That the general election, the popular vote, as well as the electoral colleges are going to fly, because if these people if they don't certify the votes here in Georgia, then we're stuck. They don't certify the votes in North Carolina or Michigan or Pennsylvania or South Dakota, we're stuck. And then it comes down to the House of Representatives as being the ones who determine who our president is. It comes down to the court system. It determines who our president is. When people used to say years ago that it's a joke, this really isn't about the popular vote. It really isn't about voting. And I used to look at them sometimes and say, man, you guys you're bugging. And the more I study this stuff, the more that we are really leaning on people's sensibility and people saying that this is the right thing to do. If we get to the point that more people figure like, damn, the right thing to do, we just want power, this is where we are right now. Right? So, all right. So, anyway, all right. It's crazy.
So, can we go into what? I have one what, and I know you haven't been keeping up on this, but I just got to throw it at you, and,
All right, all right, let me cue it up. Where is it at?
You're not going to be on there.
What am I not up on?
Cardi B and Offset spent the whole weekend on Twitter saying just dumb stuff to each other. So for those who don't know, they're going through a divorce, and she has broken up with this man, I want to say a couple of times in the last 7 years. She's never put him on blast. She's never been like, oh, you cheated nonstop, blah, 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 blah. All she's done is just been like, we're not together anymore, and then get back together with him. This time, this woman is like, you are a scumbag who cheated on me our entire marriage. And then his response is, you still my baby mama though, which she's not. She's your ex-wife. There's a different vibe
Are
to
they
that.
ex yet? Are they still ex, or are they still together?
She's already filed her papers. It hasn't been official, but she's filed her paperwork. Then he said that she cheated on him while she was pregnant. And she was like, maybe I did. It's just been very trashy. Very, very trashy. And she just had his third child 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I have been keeping up with this, unfortunately, to a degree. And yeah, she talked about Jesus.
Go ahead, say it. I'm
not going to say it, but you can look it up yourself. Talking about how, when she was pregnant, she was doing somebody else, and I just noticed that you have like your kids' artwork on the wall behind you.
I didn't even know this was here. She found the tape, and it's just been like, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here. Listen, let me tell you something real quick. Yeah. If I'll use Omar as an example. If Omar cheated on me 7 years straight, nonstop cheated on me, and I took it back every single time, I'm going to talk cash crazy to you. I'm going to say that while I was 7 months pregnant, I was sleeping with your cousin, your dad, your homeboy. I've been a stripper. I got an OnlyFans. I'm out here prostituting with his babies. I'm going to say anything, because think about how she's never dogged him out. She's almost caught a case for him. She has respected their marriage. Huh?
I'm going to let you finish. Go ahead.
She almost... No, I don't want to finish, because you better say something stupid that's going to make me mad.
I ain't about to say nothing stupid. You go ahead and finish. Go ahead.
She almost caught a case for him because she was getting disrespected by them two strippers. She almost fought those girls. She has been a good wife. She stayed in their marriage. There's never been rumors of her having sex with somebody else while they were married until now.
Well, it ain't rumors. She flat out said, I was sleeping with somebody else while we was together, and while I was pregnant, I was sleeping with somebody else.
What weirdo guy wants to do that, by the way? This is a whole different thing. What guy who's not your husband, which they do because they're kind of forced to do it, wants to sleep with a pregnant woman? That's not his baby. Like, does that make sense? You understand what I'm saying? Like, who wants to do that?
A lot of people.
It's already a weird threesome when it's me, the baby, and my husband. Now I gotta have an extra person. It's weird. It's great. It's weird. It's weird.
You don't. Well, talk to your brother, because maybe he can tell you some stories. I'm not saying he's done it. I mean, we as guys, we know people. That's a different conversation. Point being that I'm not having on these airways.
I'm so grossed out.
Point being, I was asking, you were talking about it like you almost were making excuses for Cardi B's behavior, right? You were like, you were basically like, he done all this stuff to her, and now it's her come up, and it's her turn now to do whatever she want to do. And
yes, it is.
Bounce.
It's absolutely her turn to do what she wants to do. You ain't got to
be all up on social media, all up in the videos and everything, telling everybody about everything that you're doing. Like, I guess, hey, you know what? Let them do them. These people live these type of lifestyles where they want everybody to know their business because that's their social currency, and that's part of what makes them who they are and all that, whatever. To me, it's disgusting. To me, it's kind of like, keep your dirt at the crib. But these people don't keep that dirt at the crib. That dirt is social currency, and it's what helps keep them popular. So,
but he
hey,
started
Cardi
this.
B, huh?
She started this with the whole let's sling mud. She was talking about their divorce or whatever, fine. Then he got in her comment section on that live and said, "You effed with the baby inside, tell the truth." And that's when she went ham and cheese. That's when she was just putting it out there. She was like, okay, fine. You want to do this? Let's do this and put all this stuff out there. I think if he had never jumped in her live and said anything, we would know this level.
Yeah, and you're probably right. I said you're probably right. This type of destructive behavior amongst these people, it is what it is now. These people are building. And here's the thing about, I've never been a huge fan of the Migos or Offset musically. I know that Takeoff is the one that passed away. Offset, and what's the other?
Yes.
What's the other?
Quavo.
Quavo does a lot. Is doing a lot of work here in Atlanta. He's got a nonprofit. He's doing some work in the space of gun violence reform and all of that. But some of these people, man, we just can't expect them to be more than who they are, man. And like this. I saw something recently with Kendrick, and I'm just following logic. This generation has no respect for a lot of things that we have respect for. We would never put, just like you just talked about, no men. What man would want to go out and have sex with a pregnant woman? I know stories that I've in conversations with dudes I've been around as a younger man. Like, yeah, I done heard them talk about that stuff and brag about that stuff and all that. But I'm not saying, but I would never go on live and talk about my man. He blah blah blah, or my. Blah. But this generation, everything is on social media. Everything has to be public. Everything has that, and it's insane to me. And then there's no sense of history. There's no sense of respect for their elders. I ain't gonna be the old man, get off my lawn right now, but they about to get what they asked for. And you know what? It is what it is. Cardi B is not gonna lose any fans. She's found her tribe. I don't know what her tribe is called. What is her tribe called? Everybody got the barbs and does she have her own like
does.
Whoever they are, they out there snapping and girling and they all blah blah blah. Go do your thing, girl. Offset's trash. And the dudes on the other side, young boys on the side, they trashing her. And
I think that it's Barty Gang. I think it's Barty Gang is what she calls them.
Point being, it is what it is. Anything else we got in harm? What else you got?
I'm double checking because once the hurricane hits, the funnies kind of leaves out the door. Yeah. Shannon Sharpe is crashing out. That was my other what? Why is Shannon Sharpe crashing out?
Continue. What do you mean he's crashing out?
I gotta Google it and back up my claims. He's talking about black women's hair on social media. Ever since that sex tape came out of him, he's been acting a little bit too quick.
Shannon is smelling himself. There's no question about that. Shannon has a big platform now, and I don't know if Shannon Sharpe is ready for the big platform he has now. When he was hanging out with I don't forgot his name. Skip. When he was hanging out with Skip. He was there, but he was kind of, even though he was the star of that show, he didn't operate like he was. Because, he was a star.
There was some kind of ego balance there where it could keep him in check because he didn't want to lose no jobs.
Yeah, but he don't have that check and balance when it comes down to Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith is lighting gas underneath that. And now, in addition to that, after what he has done with Cat Williams, after what he has done, the interviews he's getting, I saw an interview he had recently. He's done Marlon Wayans, but he did somebody else was a bit of a surprise. I'm not sitting down 3 hours and watching Shannon.
It was somebody white.
Somebody he had recently, I was kind of like, oh, that's interesting. He has a platform now that, once again, we keep looking at it at the public, what the public is consuming. Once people start finding their tribes, once we start building, because we're going to be building out, we still been working a long time. I got to update on LinkedIn. This is, we've been doing this show for 14 years.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I know. Yes.
14 years.
You keep asking me if I know stuff when I'm the one who has to remind you 90% of the time that these things happen.
Yeah, and because I keep on getting these congratulations on your anniversary on LinkedIn. I'm like, which one of my jobs? Oh, 14 years on Sucker Radio. Wow.
Mark Cuban. That's who his last interview was. I watched part of that interview, especially when he was talking about Delonte West.
And I may go back and watch that because Mark Cuban always has some very interesting things to say, giving us insight about rich people. But
he's getting, I think what you're saying is he's getting interviews like that. He started off getting rinky-dink, not rinky-dink, but like Omarion talking about, it was awful. He started off like DJ Vlad.
He was getting B-list black celebrities, right?
Yes.
Right. Now he's getting down in that. So with that, he's getting challenged by more people. More people are aware of who he is, and more people are trying to check him. And he doesn't know how to say, all right, I'm gonna let you be over there because you're too small for me to be even touching you anyway. I shouldn't be paying you any attention. He's in these comments, commenting like he talks. And bruh, stop, Shannon, stop. So, these internet streets, man, will get you locked into some nonsense that you shouldn't be touching. All right. Anyway.
So as we close out the show today, can we please post the video of the beautiful and smart Maya Rudolph reprising her role as Kamala Harris on SNL, and also a surprising Tim Waltz being played by the hilarious Jim Gaffigan. For those, I don't know how to make people know Jim Gaffigan, but he's really funny, and watch this clip and tell me he doesn't look exactly like Tim Waltz.
All right, let me slide over it. Let me get this. Boom. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Why is that shot so tight? Let's cut that one out. Let's go. Bye-bye. Safari. There we go. Boom. And
all right, here we go.
Good evening.
He looks nothing like David Muir. How dare they do that to David Muir?
I'm David Muir. And is it just me, or is it kind of handsome in here? I had hoped the takeaway of the debate I moderated would be my striking good looks, but unfortunately, it was what...
I can't let it run too much because they're going to strike if it's a strike. All right.
Espresso. The lyrics are vague, but the vibe slaps.
Fast forward to when they showed Jim Gaffigan. That's what I wanted you to see how much he looks alike. Right there.
Folks, I haven't been this excited
He
since
does.
Tell me that does not look just like him.
Yeah.
What can I say? I got that beady.
Yeah. This is going to be interesting. And it's funny you bring this up because I do want to talk to you before we get up out of here. I'll be interested to see if Tim Walz can handle J.D. Vance. I think J.D. Vance is going to do pretty well tomorrow night against Tim Walz.
It's tomorrow?
That's tomorrow, yeah. That's tomorrow.
Please tell me it's at like a decent hour, like 7 o'clock.
Of course it's not. It's going to be 9 o'clock and it'll be over at 11. So, yeah, it's going to be up late. So, but this is interesting.
But no, it'll be a good debate because it's two people who have brains about them. I mean, everybody wants to call Tim Waltz weird. I think he's weird on the rally stage. I think he's weird when he's trying to have fun and be America's cool dad. Yeah. I think in a serious situation, he's going to be a serious candidate. Now, both of these men could end up slinging mud at each other.
Oh, they will. They're going to sling mud. J.D. Vance is going to sling mud. And Tim Walz is going to respond as he should. I just think that presentation-wise, J.D. Vance he has a leg up on Walz, at least from what I can tell now. I just want to see it. I want to see how well he performs as in Tim Walz in his set. Because J.D. Vance is going to make some of the craziest and nuttiest things in the world sound very logical if you don't really listen. If you're just looking, if you watch it with the sound off, it's going to be a whole lot more of Tim Walz probably looking like he's unhinged than it'll be J.D. Vance. But when it comes down to who's going to win, I'm just hoping it's not going to make
that
big.
Who is that supposed to be? It's supposed to be Biden.
I think that's supposed to be her husband, more than likely. Come on now. That's got to be her husband. So
Oh, probably.
Yeah. So
That's the guy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
yeah. So it's going to be interesting, but I'm just ready. Some of the when does absentee balance begin in Florida? Have they started yet? Have they started?
They started, I think. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
they've already
So
started going out.
people are starting
Actually,
to vote
no, that's
already.
not true. That's not true. They'll probably go out on Friday
Hmm.
because they were waiting until after this debate. Like that. It was like something like that, weird like that. Like they go out this
That
I
doesn't
could be
matter
wrong.
because that doesn't matter because some of the ballots are already out. Some of them people are already voting. My daughter, Saran, had to. Fortunately, we opened the mail, and well, I didn't open the mail. I went to the state registrar's office here in Georgia, and her ballot, her registration was inactive, and so she had to go back and take care of it. Right? These people are not playing. They're not playing. And then some of it is just, for all I know, because as far as I know, I believe she voted in the last election. But point being, make sure you're checking all your ballots. Make sure you're keeping up with that. But it's almost past time now. Today's September the 30th, I think. And so I think by the beginning of October, you're not straight. You're going to be short, and you're going to be on the sidelines watching.
Yeah, absentee ballots need to be received by October 24th to be counted, and you should receive them in the mail at the latest October 7th.
Yeah, so they're coming. They're coming. Anything they said, let me check our list real quick. Make sure there's nothing else that we are
Oh, really quick,
missing.
back to the debate. Really quick, I'm gonna say, I feel like JD Vance has given so much ammo to Tim Walz. I mean, everything from him
Yeah,
admitting that he's made up stories about the
yeah,
cat thing.
yeah.
I mean, to the stolen valor thing that he made up about Tim Walz, even though he was the PR manager for the Marines. The fact that he's talking about immigrants and your wife is both parents are immigrants.
No, JD Vance has an incredible amount of material for anybody. The point is that he's unresponsive. He's not like Trump, where Trump is going to emotionally respond. JD Vance is going to stand up there looking like a robot and a psycho, and he's going to respond with that same look
Too
on
much
his face.
eyeliner on.
Yeah, that part too. And so I'm telling you, you don't believe me. You think I don't, whatever happens with this election, even if, fortunately we're praying that Trump loses, JD Vance is not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. Now, I put him in the category with your favorite, Mr. Dreamy, Paul Ryan.
Oh, I love him so
Yeah,
much.
exactly.
So
He's that type of palatable white dude that middle America is gonna love JD Vance for a long time coming. I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you.
some of the things he said though, but that's a whole other
You
conversation,
actually
and I
think
got to get
people are
this makeup off
listening?
my face.
You actually think people are listening? Most of these people are
Because
not listening.
people are falling off that Trump not listening rah rah rah. People are
I really
falling
hope
off.
you're right. And this is, I want to be
I
wrong.
promise you, it's happening.
Hmm.
People are tired of that. They are
Yeah.
over it. It is
Okay.
not working. It's not fun. Even you even see politicians right now. Even crazy Marjorie Taylor Greene had to tell crazy Laura Loomer, "Hey, listen, bitch, you're racist, and I don't like it." So, I mean, did we ever think a day like that would come? No. People are over
But
it.
that comes back to my pendulum example that I really believe that they're really starting to make it look like Marjorie Taylor Greene is acceptable. No,
It's palatable. Yeah.
it's palatable. Marjorie Taylor Greene is not palatable. She would never be palatable at all. And so it is what it is. All right, you got anything else before we get up out of here?
I don't. Later,
All right.
guys. Love you. Mwah.
Appreciate y'all. We'll talk to y'all next week. Let me see what's going on next week. Make sure I ain't got nothing else going on. If I do, I'll let you know. All right, peace and bye-bye.